Hey everybody, welcome back to the Capes Cast podcast. It's been a couple weeks. I've been busy,
Yeah.
you know.
I just got a new job, so
Yeah, and I'm about to. My schedule is about to change, so we'll still be trying to do this as weekly as we can. I kind of want to get that out of the way first because I've been thinking about it the last couple
yeah.
weeks.
Well, what
Like,
I also plan on doing is I plan on paying for the monthly Zoom so
yeah,
that when we do have a conversation, it can be a little longer. So,
yeah, exactly. And like we've been doing this for like almost like a year and a half. Well, we're in like 3 months now, right?
yeah.
Um, while I like the 30-minute stuff, I there's a lot more. I mean, at least I think that's going on currently in the comic sphere that I would want to talk about, not just one book, you know.
Well, not even that. I think with the change of you not working at the comic shop, we're gonna have a lot to talk about
Right,
anyway.
I was just
Instead
gonna
of,
say I was that's where I was gonna lead into that. I was like,
right.
after January, I won't be working at the shop anymore, so it'll be
Mhm.
like we won't be seeing each other as much. And on top of that, like there's just a lot going on in the comic sphere, and if I'm not going to be in the shop talking it all week long, then it's going to be a little different, and I'm gonna want, like you said, we're gonna want to talk. So,
Exactly.
dude, oh, check this out. Speaking of the shop, so shout out to our dude Roger.
Uh-huh.
Dude, look what he hooked me up with last night.
Oh, dang.
The Marvel Anatomy book. Yeah, dude, it's
That's
tight.
pretty dope.
Yeah, he was telling me like a couple months back. He's like, I got an extra copy of this, and I don't. He's like, and the other one they're like letting me keep. So I was like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
He's like, you want it? And I was like, I mean, if you don't want it, like, I'll take it. Like, dude, it's like an $85 book, but it's like,
Right.
this was the only thing that was wrong with it. It was like this little ding on the top.
Oh, okay.
Like, okay, like that's fine.
Yeah.
So whatever. I'm not gonna complain. It's cool. I was,
Eight's
I was,
fine.
I was
So
flipping through it last night. It was tight. It's cool.
that's pretty dope.
Um, but book of the week, I guess we're talking about is Ultimate Universe 1 year in. I mean, I guess this could kind of just be like finally like a year into the Ultimate Universe. Like we can kind of recap a
Right.
lot of it.
Yeah.
Because I've been keeping up with every title, you
So have
know.
I. Yeah.
So it's been like they've all been really. I changed my mind about Ultimate X-Men, I think.
Yeah.
The last couple issues have been really solid.
Yeah.
And was it last week's issue?
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit crazy
Yeah.
with Psylocke, the Cyclops chick or whatever, whoever that is.
Yeah, with her mom,
Like,
that was
yeah, just like
crazy.
drilling holes
Yeah.
into her mom. I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, this is the kind of stuff that I was looking for from like the jump.
Right.
Because like before Pete started doing Marvel and like superhero stuff, she was like very like her original art was like very like horror driven and had like a Junji Ito
Right.
like vibe to it. So the fact that it's kind of taken Marvel this long to let her cut loose a little bit and like do some of the stuff that she's like good at
Yeah.
is, I mean, I'm glad, but it was also kind of annoying because this should have been like kind of the case the whole time. Because
Yeah.
the last few issues have been like pretty much bangers, dude. Like they've
Yeah,
been
it took getting through like the slog of like the first six
yeah.
issues. Start
I
ramping.
was I was talking to somebody. Oh, it was who was it? It might have been Trey. I don't remember. I was talking to somebody the other day. I think it was him. Um, And we were talking about how like that first volume is just like kind of like you said, it's a bit of a slog to get through, but that last issue of volume one is solid, and then it kind of just peeps. I thought we were gonna have to deal with kind of like a bit of a reset with 7, 8, 9, but like 7 was kind of slow, 8 picked it up, 9 was good, and 10 was really good. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna keep hanging on. I'm gonna keep reading it. Black Panther's been really good.
Oh man. I feel like that book isn't talked about enough. I
Oh,
feel
it's
like
so underrated, dude.
yeah.
And it's so funny because they're each hitting like a different like note. You know what I mean? Like you've got Ultimate Spider-Man, which just feels like your classic Marvel book, but
Yeah.
you've got Ultimate Black Panther, which is kind of like your political intrigue, nations at war, kind of the more mystical side of stuff.
Right.
And then of course you've got your Ultimate X-Men, which is just the mutant like aspect of this world. But and then Ultimate Wolverine will also probably dive into that a little bit more.
Right.
Whereas you got Ultimates as your, of your universe or, world building book and your main team book.
Right.
Um, but yeah, okay, what are your thoughts on, I guess, this whole year of the Ultimate Universe?
I honestly think it's probably my favorite thing Marvel's doing right now. I think the Absolute Universe and like it's so much fun to just watch these new universes spring to life
Yeah,
from the beginning.
yeah,
It's like we all love our main continuity and stuff, but
yeah.
it's 100 years
I
at this point. It's kind of fun to just
Yeah, like, and one of the things that I think like that I've been like, and I'm pretty sure we've probably talked about it. Like both the Absolute and the Ultimate universes, like they're still like in that opening like phase where in another year we could feel very differently about it.
yeah.
You
In
know,
another
like
year we'll be able to like actively compare the two universes.
right. But there's something to be said that like how much effort is being put into both of these universes. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like the Absolute Universe had a 3 book wave in October, November, and then we're getting another 3 book wave in March.
right.
Like, because okay, so that's I guess not to like tangent off, but the DC solicitations for March came out today,
Yeah,
and Absolute Green Lantern, Absolute Martian Manhunter, and Absolute Flash are all releasing in March, all
right.
three of them. So that is, which is kind of a see, like it's weird because you have the Ultimate Universe that's been going on for over a year now, but it still is only going to have what 5 titles in total. You're
Right.
gonna you've got your 4 solo books and you've got your Ultimates book.
Right.
Whereas you were gonna be 6 months into the Absolute Universe, and we're gonna have
Like
6 titles.
yeah, six. Yeah.
Really, like, and I don't know if that's just like DC's way of like playing catch up because as far as we know, the Absolute Universe has kind of been in the works for several years. So and so maybe that's the advantage they have is whereas like it, but I don't we haven't heard anything really like that from Hickman as far as what the Ultimate Universe, like how long that's been cooking, or if that's just something that was like
I'm gonna be honest here. I think Hickman's started this, and I think he's on the back burner. And I think he's leaving it up to Dennis Camp to
I
do.
was gonna I see I I kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
I'm not that Dennis Camp isn't a good writer. I think he's incredible. Like he's been doing a really great job with uh Ultimates with the Ultimate Universe 1 year in. But like there for me, and I know for you too, there's just something exciting about having like an entire initiative led by Hickman.
Yeah. I mean, Hickman, of course.
Because we know the kind of storyteller that he is. There's just like a certain standard or like a quality I feel like I feel like I sound pretentious, but it's just like I at this point I've read like all of the big stuff that he's done.
Right.
So it's like there's this ongoing theme of like this grandiose, large, overarching, complex, like high quality storytelling
Yeah.
that we're just used to. And
I think he's just
so
saving that for Spider-Man. I think he's just putting everything he has in the
which
Spider-Man.
my hope is maybe he's like acting showrunner, of the Ultimate Universe and like basically like the director, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like what he had intended to do for Krakoa, but it didn't work out that way.
Right.
Where and then because we know that this was originally supposed to be a Donny Cates led project, right?
What's that?
The Ultimate Universe.
Really? Well, I'm
I,
glad it
I'm
did.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm
Like
glad it ended up with Hickman and not with Donny.
I don't know the how certain that is, but I've heard it multiple times that this was supposed to
I
be a Donny Cates led project before.
I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much, to be honest with
Oh,
you.
right. I mean, and maybe we still get a lot of a similar creative talent. I don't know, because at the end of the day, it's Marvel's decision to put who on the books. But
This would be the edgy universe. Excuse me. But yeah, this
just
would be the
yeah,
edgy
it would
universe
just
if it
be
was Donny Cates.
1610
Yeah.
2.0. So I don't know. I There's similarities between the two. But like I guess just focusing on the Ultimate Universe. like as a
Well,
whole.
yeah, it's a little different too because at least in the absolute universe, we haven't seen any crossover,
Yeah,
you
right.
know.
It's just been
With
like right.
with this, we're actually ever since like Ultimate Invasion, we've been kind of seeing a lot of people in the background. Like for example, in this, we got my boy Howard the Duck was in here, and
Hmm.
he was prisoner, you know, like he's held
Yeah,
captive, my boy. So it's kind of like I kind of like that, you know, they expect us to keep note of every little cameo where all these characters are at. Um, you know, because we even saw like there's like a prison system in Ultimate Invasion where it shows the make who the maker like imprisoned.
yeah,
And you know, so I imagine there's going to be a big prison break and stuff. But what I like about it too is Hickman does always plant those seeds years in advance for them to just flower and they'll pay off later.
yeah. I in terms of ultimate of like I think in just the 1 year in one shot since we're already kind of talking about that a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, when the maker or like when they all got trapped in the city initially, I I guess I didn't really put much weight into the fact that like how quickly like this cabal was gonna try and like power grab. You know what I mean?
right.
Like because for all intents and purposes, like the maker's kind of been like the iron, the iron hand like here. So like
Yeah,
everything has worked like because he has like meticulously put it the way that it is.
right,
So and with him being trapped, how fast does this universe devolve? You know?
right.
So I think that's like the one of the most interesting prospects is because you
Well, the maker had so much control, and now
right and
it's like
the
just
and like the
out.
kind of character that he is he's like basically like Reed Richards on evil steroids, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like he's thought it all out. He's got every possible like scenario played out, and he's usually come out on top, or he's come out of an encounter, with like pretty much unscathed, but with some kind of advantage like that he can use later on down the line.
right,
So, it now that he's not in the picture, what happens over the course of 2 years when you have these people that he's basically given all power to and said, you have to work for me because you don't have a choice. But
right.
now that he's not around,
Well, now we see that Immortal Hulk, that was a pacifist,
is
now
now
is
is now got a taste for blood again, and he's aggressive.
right.
You've got the ultimate Wolverine who's introduced here, and
The Winter Soldier.
The Rasputins are basically ready to just cut the throats of anybody that steps on their toes.
Right,
You've got the DaCosta family, which the dad is gnarly, dude. Like the dad is like hooked his son up to him, like is like basically like power siphoning him,
right,
which is kind of gnarly. Like, half of this council is like practically mutants. So what happens when you have mutant infighting when there's been so much peace amongst them for so long? Not even really peace, but just like tolerance because the makers told them you have to just deal with it.
right.
So now that the I guess that the leashes are off, what I don't know,
And
like every
will they go back to just going in line once the maker comes back?
right, right. That's what I was gonna say. Like, how is the maker gonna get control back? And two, if he can't, what's gonna happen?
Right,
So, and it just adds another like party to this fight because you've got the maker who actively knows that the Ultimates are, who has some idea about them because of Kang and Tony and Howard and everything else and Doom. But you've got the Cabal who now has this freedom without the maker around, has been able to kind of make some moves, and they're not going to want to go back to being ruled by the maker. So you're going to have it's just going to be chaotic, I think, all the
right,
way around when the maker does come back. But that I think that's while I like all the individual stuff so far, it's just all of the like the ideas that are shared between them and the potential for those stories, I think is the best part of this universe.
right. And we still need to find out what happened to the Kang of the situation,
Yeah. Yeah, and how because they're
and
all three
Howard.
trapped in the city. So,
Right. So, You know,
And
that could change everything for the Ultimates as well, with Kang, with us seemingly thinking who Kang is.
yeah. And here's the thing and with time travel, it's always like in flux, you know, like and I don't know I don't he hasn't really established any rules yet
No.
with the time travel in this universe, right? Or like how the Immortus engine works, right?
No, the Immortus engine pretty much just has no rules. Like it can just
Kind of do whatever at this point, I
yeah.
think. Which
That's also why Doom is hesitant about it because he's like, this is
right,
there has to be some consequence to using
right.
this. So that's the only reason why he hasn't just gone back
Right,
to the
because
Immortus.
like for him I think at its core it's still Reed, you know what I mean? Like so he sees the danger in like basically what appears to be limitless power.
Right. Because if we change one thing about the past, what's going to stop us from changing everything about the past?
Right.
Right.
And he's the other piece that I think is very vital to this universe that so many people are sleeping on still.
Yeah.
Because like he he's like tiptoeing this line of like if I do it and I succeed, like that's scary. You know, because what's gonna stop me from doing like upping the ante every
Right.
single time? Like if I succeed here, and that's a very Reed thing. Like that's even main Reed is like, okay, I could do this now. What can I do now? What can I do next? What can I do better? What can I do bigger?
Right.
What can I do to make the world safer? What can, you know what I mean? Like it almost becomes like an obsession, which we've seen how obsessed he's already been with trying to recreate the Fantastic Four after watching countless footage of failing them, of them dying, his entire history, like
Yeah.
his entire memory being laid out before him, and how obsessed he's gotten with trying to make it work, and how many times Tony's come up to him like, "Hey man, knock it off. Like we have work to do." And he's like, "No man, you've got work to do. I've got work to do.
Right.
So leave me alone." So there's just going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come to a head, I think, at the end of this next year with
Yeah.
the Ultimate Universe. And when that other shoe drops, who knows? And then I mean, you still even have the 616 Illuminati that haven't shown up at all, since literally issue one of the Ultimate Invasion.
Yeah, dude. You know,
So, like, it's a pretty big deal. Like, and this is why I don't think Hickman is out, or like, I think he's just working and building this stuff up. My hope would be he continues to write Ultimate Spider-Man. We get an event out of this, and it's literally all of that finally colliding and it's written by him.
right.
But hell man, give me a 12 issue like cap at the like a year long event where everything, like I don't like I don't want to say it, but like kind of like how Ultimatum was like the end, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you had like everything was tied into it. Everything was doing, all
I
the stuff.
imagine they've been kind of like rehashing Ultimate stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised we eventually get this Ultimate Universe's Ultimatum, you know,
Yeah.
because we have the
So,
Ultimates, we have pretty much everything else that the Ultimate Universe had, but
yeah. I I I think that's it's good. Everything about it is good. I'm excited for the future of this universe. The Nick Fury stuff in this issue
this
for
was dark,
Wolverine,
bro. This was
it was
dark.
messed up, dude. And I just kept waiting. I guess on this issue as a whole, it's just the council meeting, meeting with Nick Fury and discussing like what the plan is now that the Maker's gone and how there's a shift in like power dynamics and how we're all going to keep the peace and how but we're not going to put up with each other's shit the whole time. Basically is
Right.
kind of what the gist of this issue is. But what is really grabbing about this whole thing is you have Nick Fury like replaying his life like he's guilty and he feels bad about all the things that he's done. And now he's gonna make one last sacrifice to stop, to save the world essentially.
Because he only serves the Maker,
Right.
not
He
the
does not
Cabal.
serve this. Yes. So
Like,
it's it's like the entire time you're waiting for this moment of like when is he gonna do it? What is he gonna do? How is he gonna do it?
yeah,
And it finally and he's looking at this clock the whole time and I'm like, okay, this it's obviously a counter of some kind. Like he's counting down to something. And just as the meeting finishes, The Cabal's about to roll out. He holds him at gunpoint and says that he's like initiated the self-destruct sequence on the helicarrier. And like I remember reading these pages, I'm like, okay, like maybe he's gonna do it, like maybe he'll pull it off.
Yeah.
Um, but then it just comes down to it, and the timer it does nothing. The timer goes off, the helicarrier doesn't explode, and then
Right.
they all just start laughing at him,
Right.
and he just gets like literally just torn to bits, roasted. Only for, and it was like it was at this point I was like, all right, he's not dead because this is Nick Fury.
Right.
So obviously my first guess was LMDs, you know,
Right.
and this is basically that universe's equivalent of it
Yeah.
because it looks like because like here's the part where I was kind of confused about what exactly it is because you have him in all of these like jars like they're clones. But then you have like a just like a dismembered version like copy of him in a box at the bottom of the page.
Right.
So I'm like, is it LMD or is it like
I
a
think
mix of
I think
both? Like, is it kind of like they're using his DNA, in his memories? I mean, obviously, but like in a
yeah,
way,
because there is something hanging from the top there too.
yeah, so it's right. And they even say like, oh, if you can call it flesh, you know. So
Right.
it's just probably LMD, but this universe's version of it. And then yeah, so I was really I don't know what I was expecting this issue to end like. So when
Right.
it hits you with this like final page where they're just like, well, I guess we're just gonna have to try again. Like it just shows you how deep it runs, Like they're in on it and they really have ultimate power right now. And
Yeah.
there's nothing to stop them, which
And it's more like oh like it seems like they just keep Nick Fury around to kind of keep them sharp, keep them like
yeah, exactly. Like and it's almost like entertainment for them at this point too, because they
yeah.
really get a kick out of it, it seems like.
Right, because Nick Fury thinks that this is his life. It's like
Yeah.
his only life. It's his
He- And I think right. He could be another interesting piece of this, especially because we don't know where the original Nick Fury is.
right.
So is that Nick Fury still alive? Is he actually gone? And with um so I guess speaking on solicitations, Marvel's March solicitations are out,
Uh-huh.
or the preview magazine at least is. And the Ultimates will be I think the issue for that month is Cap and Human Torch looking for Namor,
Oh, okay.
and it will involve the Red Skull Gang. So
Ooh.
probably just a group of white supremacist Nazis that Cap and Human Torch are going to beat the shit out of, and then recruit Namor into the fold, or try to at least.
Right. Ooh.
Which is interesting because he's a mutant.
Right. He's the first mutant, at
Yeah.
least in the main.
So yeah. So who knows? And again, the mutants seems like they have a very tenuous relationship with each other. At least the ones that are like you got the ones in Russia, you got the ones in Japan. Um, I guess that begs the question: what happens if the Cabal finally set aside their differences? You know,
Right.
because that's the other thing is none of them really seem like they get along. They're all just waiting for the other one to slip up so they can just knock heads.
Right.
Um, but when you have a group like the Ultimates that's making waves the way that they have been, when you've got the Maker's Return on the horizon, when you've got a faction of the X-Men that are basically could do anything at any point whenever if they got their shit together. Like there's a lot of variables for this cabal. So if they were to eliminate them all and work together, like that spells pretty much not that doesn't spell that's bad news for pretty much every hero involved.
Right.
So like you that's the kind of stuff that I really want to see, and that's the stuff I'm hoping we're going to get out of this next year. Because or at least like another year of building up the heroes maybe, and then like getting a really really big gut punch. I
Yeah.
think would be good
Yeah.
because I would like this universe to kind of stick around for a while because it kind of seems like I don't know. At least the last couple of, initiatives or stuff that the big two have done, they don't seem to last very long. So I'm hoping these both, I mean, this and the Absolute Universe both. I'm hoping they're at least around for a good, four or
I
five
think with
years.
both of them competing with each other, they're going to be around for a while. I think it's
Yeah,
because
okay,
they're
right,
competing,
exactly.
you know.
Because I mean, you since October, you've seen their both universes are in the top selling books for each company.
Yeah.
So if they can keep that up and they can keep, consistent writers, consistent artists, consistent storytelling, let editorial stay out of the way of the creatives and just kind of let them kind of do their thing for a while, then I don't see why it wouldn't go on for a while. But my worry is that like, you know, the classic problem of the creatives not getting to do what they want to do or what they know they, like basically like letting them work to their potential, I think.
Right. Well, to speak briefly on something adjacent to the Absolute Universe, New Gods came out, and this is one of the only things that I wish the Ultimate Universe did with 616 because the first few pages of New Gods, boom, all in special, boom, Dark Side, boom, repercussions, boom, what's High Father gonna do, boom, what's New Genesis gonna do, immediately plays off the fact of the Absolute Universe being created and what that means. And oh my god, that New Gods issue was 10 out of 10, like just
Yeah,
knocked it out of the
I
park.
haven't read it yet.
It's great. It's great. Evan Cagel's art is
I'm so ready
phenomenal,
to read it. Hold on.
breathtaking. It's breathtaking. His art is breathtaking in that. Um,
Dude, I haven't, okay. I don't want to like take away from our ultimate talk, but like I've been looking at this cover way more than I should have.
dude, yeah, dude.
And okay, and I'm I'm getting all of them. I'm doing it all
No,
12.
you're gonna do it,
I'm
huh?
doing it all 12, dude. I can't
Yeah.
because when I see this and then you just is like,
Well, in the book, it's very Hickman-like, where there are just pages like that, like it'll just
well,
be pages like that, like graphic. You know what
I
I mean?
mean, Ram did say he talked to Hickman, he
Yeah,
talked to Gillen, he
yeah.
talked to Ewing for hours about all of this and how to plot and how
Well,
to do those graphic pages and data
this
pages.
New Gods issue one just feels big. Like it feels like, like it is above the multiverse. It feels like it is connected to the absolute universe. It
Well,
feels
like
like the
here's the
New
thing.
Gods should feel
Right.
like,
I feel like
omnipotent beings, and they
yes.
feel like it in here.
And here's the thing is I feel like how yeah, there's like a measure I think for like any New God stuff. Either it hits this standard and it makes it's good and it's fine and it will be enjoyable, or it's not. And that standard I feel like is if Kirby were alive today, would he be happy with this book?
It's vastly different. It feels different, but I think it feels updated and modern. It like with you'll see what I mean because this Metron
Right.
doesn't
Well,
really feel like a Metron
and
we've
I
felt
think what
before.
I mean by that is I feel like Hickman spent so much time crafting mythologies at Marvel and at DC,
Yeah.
like the Fourth World mythology, the Eternals, a lot of like the Asgard stuff in the early days of Marvel. He was a big part of that. And like for New Gods to be received so well because I've only heard good stuff about it the last 2 days. I've only heard good stuff.
Yeah.
So for the New Gods to be like out the gate selling and people love it and it's well thought out and it's just expanding on the mythology. I think those are the criteria that would make like someone like, Kirby, the creator of that property. And I feel the same way about Gillen's Eternals. That was a complex, thought out story that really, really leveraged the characters, the relationships between them. And when that series was finished and when Judgment Day was done and Gillen was done with those characters, I was like, this is a book I feel like Kirby would have been like, this is good stuff.
Right.
And that maybe that's like too forward speaking, but like the everything we know about him, he was like about creativity. He wanted to draw. He was interested in creating like these worlds, these interesting ideas. So it's like
this
It
made me this filled the void of the disappointment that I got from JLU. Like
there you go, dude. There you
this
go.
like this feels like what JLU should be doing. This feels big. Like this feels like what Darkseid did as repercussions for, Earth Prime and that universe, that it's never going to be the same now.
Yeah, yeah,
And not even for that, but for New Genesis above the multiverse and everything, like it's never going to be the same.
yeah.
Darkseid is gone, which means the multiverse is quick at work making his replacement. So
Interesting stuff,
it's
man.
great, man. It's fantastic. By the time you get to that final page, you're gonna be blown away. Evan Cagle knocked that shit out of the park, man. He
Dude,
is.
like even his variant, like
Oh my
his
god,
Orion
his
variant.
Orion is so sick, dude. I love his Orion. Like, oh,
Yeah, this.
but this feels like Rom. I feel like everything, like this is all like built for this moment for Rom. Like it's basically like this is his. Everything has come to this point for him because this feels like the biggest thing he's ever done.
I There are so many good books this week, man, and it's
Yeah,
like
dude.
kind of pissing
I
me
had
off.
like 14 fucking books this week, dude.
Here, here,
14.
okay, hold on. We're just gonna I'm gonna go over my poll really fast for this week because I've already picked minus the stuff that okay. So I had to get
Oh
these.
yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
sucker, dude, and I have the Void Rivals ones, but this is issue one. I'm not gonna reread that.
Yeah.
Um, let's see, and not to mention I've got like multiple covers of stuff. Like there's a see, god damn, dude. Like there's so many good books right now. Okay, like we're just gonna do this one at a time. Like I have to read this.
Oh, that was great.
See?
That was great.
And then I have to read this.
That was also great. I read that last night.
And then I have to read this.
Fantastic stuff.
And then see, and then I have to read this.
I haven't read that.
I mean, I know, but I have,
Yeah.
and not this
Yeah.
issue, but I've read everything, and I'm excited for it. Like
Yeah.
even this has been good.
Yeah.
Like and this is great.
Yes,
And this I haven't read yet, but it's probably great.
it is.
See, and this I know is going to be great.
Yeah.
And this has been pretty good because it's Daniel Warren Johnson. And then this you said is incredible. So I
Incredible.
have to read that too. And then I've got this, which has been pretty good.
Yeah. That's
Cover
the
is
ending.
nasty, but whatever. And then this, every issue is a banger.
Yeah.
And this first issue was pretty good. I'm gonna keep reading it. And this is way better than it probably should be. And
See,
I
you and
haven't
these
read
indie
this.
titles, man. If I had indie titles, I'd be screwed. Dude,
Like
that Turtles
Turtle,
issue was crazy too. Yeah.
I had to get the Christmas one. I just, you know.
Yeah.
And, okay, all right. Pause for a second. Okay, see, and then I have Ultimate Spider-Man I have to read too.
Bro, that one. We got to
But,
talk about that one. We got to talk about
but,
that one.
but, have you seen Stand By Me?
Of course.
That's basically what this kind of what this book is. It's
Really?
like if you took the friend group element of Stand By Me and It and mashed it with superheroes. This is the story you get. And
Huh.
it is absolutely incredible.
Huh.
This is where like it's gonna have 9 issues in like total. We're dude, this I haven't even read this fourth issue, but the first 3 issues are phenomenal.
Huh. Okay.
Like when
Who's
I would
writing
say
it?
just wait till it's in trade and buy it. It is insanely good.
That's a Lemire book, is it? Or no?
It's Remender. It's
Remender.
part of the
Okay.
Giant Generator imprint, but it's written by Peter Warren, and I can't remember if he's like a filmmaker or if he is like a journalist. But either way, dude, this book is absolutely it's just so good. You got Francisco like the Francisco Mobili. He did the that Doom cover.
Oh, yeah.
He does the interior art. Every page looks so good. The story is interesting. It's basically like this group of friends they meet when they're in like elementary school or whatever, junior high, and the one of the main character that dies, he like he has like a condition and his legs just don't work that well. He can't walk. I think it's like MS or whatever.
Yeah.
But like basically, so he and if I'm wrong, sorry, it's not like really coming to me right now. But anyways, and he's really intelligent. He founds his company. He creates these like prosthetic legs that basically help him walk. And then he becomes a superhero named Caliburn. And one of their friends becomes his sidekick. And then they kind of all go their separate ways because of life and circumstances. And like kind of like real life friend groups do. And but they're still like some of them still kind of interact, some of them still hang out, some of them sleep together, because there's a girl in the group. And he dies. He gets murdered. Like that's like the opening page of the book is he's just like on the floor, just battered and bloodied and just mutilated. And the book the following that, it's just the entire book is about finding like who murdered him. But then you have like all of these like twists and turns, like there's secrets between them. Like the main character that you're following mostly, she was sleeping with him and none of the other friends know. So like you have like this like really, really personal drama between them and these secrets that they've been holding on to for years and like things that they just didn't think they could trust each other with, which is like it adds a real organic like friend like get that feeling you have with friends that you've known for so long, but those things that you've never shared with them, or like if you are two friends and you have a kind of an extra thing on the side, you don't always want to tell your other friends that.
Right.
So like it adds a really like interesting like dynamic to things, a very real dynamic to things, and I think it's just it's really it's been slept on. I haven't heard a single person talk about it, but it's great. It's really really good.
I'll check up on it online, man. But we got less than a minute now, so
Yeah. Sorry, I had to talk about this.
you're good, bro.
I haven't stopped thinking about that book since it came out.
I gotta check it out.
Definitely. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be back probably next week. I'd say later in the week, I think.
Between Ultimate Spider-Man, New Gods, whatever you like more, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll definitely chat. All right,
All right.
guys. Peace
Later
out.
on.